people, it's your friendly neighborhood Dragonslayer here, bringing you the latest on TV, movies, and sometimes gaming. Before we begin today's topic, I just want to say that if you enjoy this video, then you already know what to do with the like, share, subscribe, and notification buttons. It's only a few seconds of clicking for you, but for me it means I made someone's day 10 times better.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
And also, leave a comment down below, people. I want to hear from you because I know there's many of you that want to voice your opinions, so come on in, because I won't persecute you like the agenda-fueled media. Furthermore, please watch the entire video as it does help me fight against this unfair YouTube algorithm.
You naughty, naughty. You teasing me, you naughty, naughty.
And, look, I'm sorry to tell you all this, but this episode, it's our 5th hour of boredom, and it has 4 arcs this time, which are the Harfoot, Numenor, Elrond/Durin, and the Southlands Arc. So I do apologize in advance if this video gets too long. Other than that though, let's get cracking.
Sir, could I trouble you for a glass of warm milk? It helps put me to sleep.
You could trouble me for a warm glass of shut the hell up. Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep. Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Oh, dear.
So we begin by seeing Numenor preparing for the expedition by loading supplies into their ships, and then we see Isildur having an argument with Elendil about not being recruited by his father into the volunteer army for the expedition, which eventually devolves into Elendil saying that he is proud of his son wanting to volunteer, but
you're a fucking disappointment.
We then move on to the council chamber to see a bunch of Numenorian supremacists getting very angry at Grand Wizard Ar-Pharazôn for allowing Tar-Miriel's edict to pass, and he just ignores them as he's walking past them.
Emotional, damn it!
And we then see Isildur's made-up sister talk with her boyfriend, who's actually Ar-Pharazôn's made-up son as well, about how his father's decision is wrong and why nothing was done to stop this. She then asks him to speak to his father because she believes Ar-Pharazôn will listen to him. However, he says that everything he tries to reach him, he doesn't listen. And then she gives him the great advice to just speak louder than you pussy.
God damn.
Moving on, we see Halbro finally finding fulfillment in his life because he can finally craft steel in peace without that banshee Galadriel annoying his ass. And what do you know? His crafting skills are actually equivalent to a long-lived elven craftsman. I wonder where he got those skills from.
Coincidence? I think not!
Of course, his time of bliss gets immediately ruined when he gets summoned to attend a meeting with Tar-Miriel and Galadriel. And unfortunately, he ends up finding out that he wasn't called just to tell them of possible attack locations the orcs would go to next, but that he is actually going along with them as well, which just sucks for him.
Yes! Yes! You just got pumped! Yes! Yeah, he did it! He did it! Come here! Say it to the camera! Say it to the camera! Come on, say it right there! Say it!
I just got punked.
Yeah, Schwam! It's really funny! Oh my gosh, so funny!
You are so annoying!
No, it's really funny though. He did that thing. He got the punk. Trail.
Yes, truck that.
Wow.
Extremely confused, Halbro finds out through Tar-Miriel that Galadriel told everyone that the reason this expedition is being done is because the lost heir of the Southlands wants to free his people from the orcs. When he gets ready to complain to Tar-Miriel that this is all a bunch of BS, Galadriel steps in and cuts him off by saying that he's just feeling the weight of his task, but that he'll be fine when the time comes.
Bitch.
Tar-Miriel then leaves the room and Halbro gets really angry at Galadriel for forcing him into a situation he swore to never be in again. And we find out not only did Galadriel do this to get back at him for telling Tar-Miriel she was going to the tower to see the king in exchange for Guildcrest, but also because she wanted to use him as an excuse to get an army to go after her enemy, Sauron.
Are you serious? This is torture. You're torturing me and everyone else watching. Wait.
She then reiterates the fact that she got him an army of 500 Numenorians, which we must say, these are all volunteers instead of trained professionals, by the way.
You are stupid.
to travel to the Southlands like it's supposed to make him feel better, but all it does is just make him feel angrier at her because now all of Numenor, thanks to Galadriel's propaganda campaign, thinks that he was the orchestrator of the scheme all along. And having enough of her banshee ass, he takes off his amulet bag and tells Galadriel to find another head to crown.
Oh no! Anyway.
We then cut to a bunch of Numenorian cadets doing sloppy training near the market plaza instead of the military barracks for some reason, and Elendil decides to fuck with them by sicking Galadriel at them to teach them how to properly fight, while promising to promote whoever manages to touch her into a lieutenant.
You what?
But instead, all we get is a very badly choreographed scene of our strong, tiny, independent elf woman being able to take on 4 Numenorian men who are obviously taller than her, and makes the only Numenorian female soldier in that group look like a complete total beta bitch in front of everyone in the market square.
Asshole!
Galadriel, this isn't how you inspire morale into your troops, and I assure you that they will leave your ass behind when you're in trouble.
But wait! There's more!
However, do you know what's the worst thing about this scene besides the fake cardboard scale armor? They are doing this entire training segment using their actual steel swords instead of wooden ones.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Look, according to HEMA experts, you should never use your actual sword in training situations because you could either accidentally injure someone or reduce your blade's sharpness to where it can become a detriment in battle. And to prevent either of these outcomes, medieval societies trained new recruits with wooden swords in military grounds and with wooden sticks if necessary if they were outdoors. Regardless, after the fabled greatest men in Middle-earth get their ass handed to them by a tiny elf woman, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Jr. somehow manages to touch her by slashing her a bit, Halbro notices the new lieutenant dropped his sword, and he picks it up in quite a slick way, to which Galadriel says in her usual smug face that she's never seen a Smith's aide pull that kind of move off, and Halbro just ignores her stupid comment like the Chad he is.
You fucking donkey!
Cutting a little bit forward, we see Ar-Pharazôn being told by his son that many people don't agree with his decision to support Tarmiriel, and that he should usurp power from her like he did with her father years ago, since he has the support of the people. Being very displeased with his son's low IQ, Ar-Pharazôn glares at the women near him to go away, and he stops what he is doing to explain to his son, in simple terms, why he supported the queen's decision. In short, he is simply going along with this charade because by going to Middle-earth to save the low men of the Southlands, Numenor can turn the nations of these people into tributary states that can funnel in an abundance of resources and increase Numenor's global power even more.
Hey, that's pretty good.
We then see a scene with Tarmiriel talking to her father Tar-Palantir, where he ends up warning her, in a moment of brief lucidity, that she shouldn't go to Middle-earth because all that awaits her there is darkness.
Not a great plan.
We then see a scene of Isildur partying with his friends and failing to convince The Rock Jr. to get him into the expedition through him, simply because he doesn't want to risk his career. And we then see Ar-Pharazôn's son board one of the expedition ships to set it on fire, and he gets stopped because he didn't expect to find Isildur stowing away in the boat.
Gotcha, bitch!
A short fight ensues, which leads to the lantern breaking and setting one of the exposed barrels on fire, which leads to the ship exploding, and setting the next one to it on fire as well. However, we find out that Isildur saved Ar-Pharazôn's son, and both lie to Elendil that Isildur saved him from the accident instead of leaving him behind. Naturally, this causes an emergency meeting to be held, where everyone is now doubting if the expedition should go forward. And Galadriel says that the longer they wait to go to the Southlands, the stronger the enemy will get. And also she thinks that those 3 ships are enough to travel, which just lets me know that Galadriel's a battle junkie who doesn't know anything about army logistics.
先ほどから気になっていたのですが、あなたその顔。お前ほどの強敵に会ったことがなかったからな。気持ちが高ぶって仕方ない。お主。法的な窮地、絶大な力を前にすると
自分を抑えられないようじゃな。
それってつまり重度のバトルジャンピーってことです。
She then tells Tarmiriel to stay strong on her path in faith, knowing that she has her father's blessing, and then Tarmiriel asks what Halbro thinks about the situation, to which this woman answers for him immediately by saying that he's waiting for their departure. Elendil then asks Tarmiriel if the Sea Guard should stand down, and she says that the final decision will be made in the morning, and that Halbro must attend.
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen! No, not gonna happen!
We then see Galadriel going to Halbro's shop to apologize for using him, but it doesn't really sound very genuine coming from her.
No shit.
Look, to summarize this scene, it's basically the second version of "You have not seen what I have seen," where we find out Galadriel is actually obsessed with hunting down Sauron and his orcs to the point that she will do anything to accomplish that goal of also avenging her brother's death. And that Halbro's shady past is so bad that everyone, including Galadriel, would kick him out of Numenor the second they found out.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Gee, I wonder who he was in the past. It's like they don't make it obvious enough.
Oh, there's a big surprise! That's an incredible... I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise!
She then gives him back his amulet bag and leaves Halbro to let him think about joining the fight. We then get a final scene where we find out Isildur actually got rewarded for his courage by being put into the Expeditionary Army. A big send-off parade rip-off from Return of the King occurs. Everyone gets on their ships to fuck off the Middle-earth, and Galadriel wears terrible 16th century cardboard armor that doesn't look Numenorian at all, while dramatic music plays in the background as the Numenorians act like they're mesmerized by her presence. But we all know that she will never top Cate Blanchett in a million years.
Damn!
Alright, listen to me, you knife-eared piece of shit. If you go any further with your piss-stained pubic hair you call a wig, I'm gonna wreck your shit so hard that you won't even be able to walk with your limp dick.
So we start with Durin and Elrond dining with Gil-galad, Celebrimbor, and other elf lords celebrating the partnership of the dwarves and Noldor elves. However, this all gets interrupted when Gil-galad's vampire hunter stops the toast to ask Durin a question as to why his kingdom is suddenly having a surge of industrial activity in its forges, when in the past it was known as the quietest of the dwarven kingdoms.
That's suspicious. That's suspicious like shit. That's suspicious.
He even lets Durin know that he has heard rumors that Khazad-dûm's mines are delving ever deeper, and asks him what has inspired his people to become so invigorated. Durin then proceeds to retort to Gil-galad why Lindon is suddenly shipping off its warriors and expanding its territory, when it's quite unusual for elves to act this quickly. Seeing a verbal fight in his hands, Elrond tries to defuse the situation by saying that elves perceive time in a different way, and that they meant no offense to his guest. Gil-galad then messes up Elrond's efforts immediately and says that he thought Durin was stout enough of heart that he wouldn't be offended by an honest inquiry.
Well, shit!
Durin, having enough of this pointy-eared prick, tells him that he has an honest inquiry for him. He then asks him where he acquired the table that they're sitting on, to which Gil-galad asks him why, and he makes up a story to get back at him that the stone this table is made from is actually found only at certain depths, but that it's very important to dwarves because it's used to bury their honored dead.
Ha! Got him! Got him!
Realizing he's been made a punk-ass bitch by a dwarf in front of everyone, Gil-galad asks Durin to forgive their sacrilege, and that they will send it home with him. Gil-galad then pulls Elrond aside after the party and tells him that he's surprised how loyal he is to Durin, but he says that loyalty to a friend should be expected regardless of their race.
Fucking wrong! What the fuck is going on?
Gil-galad then asks Elrond if that loyalty even justifies lying to his king, to which Elrond claps back by saying he believes it's him that's lying to him. He further presses the topic by saying that he went to Khazad-dûm to establish friendly relations with the dwarves, but eventually realized that he was sent there by his king for another purpose. Realizing the jig is up, Gil-galad tells him if he's ever heard of the Song of the Roots of Hithaglir, which by the way, it's just Elvish Sindar. It's basically the Elvish Sindar name that's used for the Misty Mountains. And Elrond says that he has heard of this obscure legend before, to which Gil-galad orders him to recount it. And look, the summary of the story is, an elf warrior, pure of heart, was in a never-ending battle with a Balrog over the protection of a tree, in which it's rumored that one of the silmarillions was used to give it power. The struggle between the Balrog and this warrior was actually so great that lightning struck the tree, and it absorbed, let's just say the roots of this tree, absorbed all this power, which eventually passed on these properties to the deep metal veins of the Misty Mountains, giving birth to Mithril ore.
Aw, you gotta be fucking kidding me!
Anyway, Gil-galad believes that the dwarves may have already found Mithril and implores Elrond to tell him if the rumors are true, but Elrond says that he will not break his oath to Durin under any circumstances. Gil-galad then tells him that if he keeps that promise, then the light of the Eldar will soon diminish, and everything, including their people, will fade away into nothing due to the decaying corruption of evil that's starting to infest the world.
Excuse me, what?
After hearing this apocalyptic message, Elrond still says that he will not break his oath to Durin because, unlike everyone else around him, he knows that in Tolkien's world, breaking an oath of that magnitude brings very bad consequences. Just ask the Oathbreakers.
Help me! Help me! Nigga! Help me!
Moving forward a bit, we see Elrond finding out that Celebrimbor knew everything all along as well, and apologizes for keeping this information from him. He then tells Elrond that he asked the High King to basically fill him in on the situation from the beginning, but that he forbade him from doing so. Elrond then asks Celebrimbor if what the High King told him about Mithril is true, and he says that he had tested the metal in many ways that confirm nothing diminishes its light. He believes that if they can secure vast quantities of it quickly, their people can be saved from the decay that's affecting the rest of the world.
5 minutes later.
Feeling conflicted about breaking his oath to his friend, Elrond goes to speak to Durin first, and he notices Elrond's hesitant to speak to him about something. So he breaks the ice by creating a Hall of Fame meme.
Enough with the quail sauce! Give me the meat, and give it to me raw.
Oh my.
Durin then says with a happy smug face that he will help Elrond, but that their biggest obstacle will be convincing his father to help the elves out. And we see Gil-galad for some reason stalking them in the bush, but regardless, this is where this arc ends. So let's move on to the next one.
I was just looking for the sports channel, Gary.
Look, Harfoots are such a footnote in this episode that I'm going to give you the shortest summary I have ever given of an arc in my entire YouTube career, I think. So, homeless Gandalf learns to speak while helping Nori's family travel, during which a Disney Segway song for some reason starts playing in the background. Eminem's Grippy Rejects are shown following after homeless Gandalf's trail. Harfoots get attacked by wolves, which gets driven away by homeless Gandalf with a Hulk smash, which leads to a mark that shows on his hand that has a depiction of a Balrog attacking someone, and he almost froze Nori to death, plus scared the shit out of her in an attempt to get rid of the mark on his hand. That's literally everything that happened, guys. So let's move on to the last one. So we begin with Adar having a staring contest with the sun until one of his orcs comes to inform him that all the tunnels have been completed. Adar then asks the orc to show his arm to him, and we see the orc exposing his hand, which starts to burn immediately. Acting like the asshole that he is, he asks the orc how it feels to have his arm exposed to the sun, and the orc tells him that it feels like it's on fire. He then monologues about how he wishes the orc could feel the sensation of the sun as he does, but that it won't matter anymore because it will soon be gone from these lands. Mind you, this orc's hand is burning the entire time he is monologuing this whole thing, and this goes on for at least a minute or two.
But you one crazy ass bitch!
But he eventually covers the orc's arm and tells him that it's time to summon the legions to war. We then see Bronwyn go up the steps of the tower walls to give a speech, and she starts it off like an idiot by telling everyone right off the bat that Adar will attack the keep, but that he will spare anyone from the slaughter if they decide to join his side instead and abandon the tower. She then says that she knows she's not the king everyone has been waiting for, but that if they choose to stand and fight with her, the tower will no longer be a symbol of their people's weakness, but of their strength. Now, what do you think the response of half of the people in that tower was? Fast forwarding to nighttime, we see the innkeeper and the villagers swearing their loyalty to Adar, thinking that he is Sauron for some reason, but they quickly find out that he is not. And he forces the innkeeper to kill Courage the cowardly Southron as proof of his loyalty. I mean, I guess good riddance, we never knew who the hell he was anyway.
What the fuck is this? I don't know.
We then go back to the watchtower where Theo warms up to Arondir and tells him about the sword he's been hiding. He then shows it to him, and the blade, he notices once he sees the blade that he's seen this kind of sword before. And he moves the vines aside to reveal a statue that shows a depiction of this exact blade in the tower.
Oh shit, here we go again.
He then says to Bronwyn that the sword is a key of some sort forged by some forgotten craft to enslave her ancestors, but he doesn't know the purpose of the sword is. The hordes of orcs are seen in the horizon, which really scare Bronwyn, and Arondir tells her that they will survive this crisis because they will find a way. However, Bronwyn believes that they should bow to Adar to save themselves, but Arondir stops her from following on through, telling her that by doing this they would condemn their children and descendants to an existence of darkness and undo all the work their ancestors have done to redeem themselves. And after arguing some more, they come up with a plan while staring at the tower, which tells me something stupid's going to happen in the next episode, because I don't trust these writers to come up with a logical solution to this predicament.
Yes, I can definitely smell shite.
Regardless, this is where the last arc actually ends.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Number 1. The mysterious Dark Key Sword never existed. In fact, this J.J. Abrams mystery box MacGuffin was made up by the showrunners, and I have a very bad feeling about what this thing's gonna do in the next episode. But aside from that, the only notable dark swords or blades that we know of are the Dark Sword of Gurthang and the Morgul blades created by Sauron for the Nazgul. Number 2. The origin story of Mithril is all made up by the show as well. Mithril in the lore, like gold in real life, was a very valuable metal, but it was different because of how strong, light, and malleable it was. If combined with other metals, it greatly increased an item or structure's durability and sharpness, and it was even used to create Galadriel's Ring of Power. Also, Mithril wasn't uncommon in the Second Age because Numenor and Valinor also had Mithril ore deposits. But when Numenor sank and Valinor was removed from the physical world, the price of Mithril spiked. But when Khazad-dûm was lost to the Balrog, Mithril then became so priceless that Sauron himself started hoarding it wherever he could find it. Number 3. Numenor had colonies by Tar-Miriel and Ar-Pharazôn's time. At this specific period of history, Numenor is at the zenith of its power and had already established powerful settlements in southern regions of Middle-earth like Umbar and Harad. They later would expand into southern Gondor in regions like Pelargir, but that was after Numenor sank. Number 4. Mithril isn't a miracle cure for the elves' fading. The fading of the elves started since Morgoth had put so much of his core spirit and power into the entire world that no matter what anyone did, corruption and evil would always persist unless the world itself was destroyed and remade. The only place elves could go to in order to avoid this fading was in untainted Valinor because the gods themselves resided there, or in areas where the wielders of the elven rings of power resided, due to those rings having the unique ability of prolonged preservation. The whole idea of Mithril being infused with the light of a silmaril that can save the elves' fading is all made up by the show, and it breaks the whole point of what the fading of the elves is all about. However, with that, people, my rating for this show is a 2.5 out of 10, because again, Elrond and Durin were the only thing that entertained me during this entire boring hour, and also the whole concept of making random shit up that breaks the lore to the point it can screw over your story in the future is just appalling, and it shows just how incompetent the writers of the show truly are. However, there is one saving grace to this episode, and that is, if you want to reduce someone's IQ by 200 points, just trick them into watching this. But with that, my friends, I wish you all a wonderful day, and Namarie.